Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Cambuslang showroom now open to the public.
We go again, as the footballers say. We're just getting over that first game at Easter Road, and it was an absolute cracker. You can tweet us your thoughts, and we're going to hear from the managers. I am extremely keen to hear what Lee Johnson and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst made of the big talking points. We've got big games at 3 o'clock, we've got the teasers, we've got all the usual nonsense. So stay in touch, and I'll give you the nod for the open line when it's your chance to have your say. We're already getting goals going in. Peterhead 1, Queen of the South 0. Max Gillis with just 2 minutes on the clock. Is he not a colleague of yours or something, Mark Wilson?
Colleague's brother, yeah. And he's a right back, and he scores. He's on loan from Queen's Park.
Put you to shame, goal scoring right back. Anyway, what's the ACCA looking like in the 3 o'clock games? None of you got it right earlier. You all took Rangers to win comfortably. Redemption is up for grabs here.
Motherwell Livy, draw. Dundee United St Mirren, draw.
Wow.
St Johnstone Aberdeen, home win.
Home win.
And Ross County Kilmarnock, home win.
This could be the first day he gets none right.
No, I'm going
Probably.
with. Right, come on, Mushroom, let's go.
Do you want me to go? Alright, I agree with you. I think it'll be a draw. Motherwell Livy. I think Dundee United are certs to beat St Mirren today. I think Jim Goodwin's Aberdeen will win away at St Johnstone, and Ross County will beat Kilmarnock.
Oh no, I went draw, Motherwell Livingston, home win, away win, home win.
It's the same. There we go.
There you go, look, it's written down.
Kick off at Roger Hannah's match. St Johnstone Aberdeen's been delayed. A fan has taken ill in the stand. Obviously it goes without saying we wish that fan well. Hopefully there is a speedy response, hopefully a quick recovery, and everything is okay. Forget the football match for now. Hopefully the health and well-being of that fan in particular is taken care of very soon. There are goals going in already though. Hamilton Accies 0, Wraith Rovers 1. Dylan Easton had a fantastic season last season at Airdrie, didn't he? Going to Wraith Rovers and put them 1 up at Hamilton.
Yeah, what a start. Dylan Easton, I used to play alongside him at
Dumbarton
many years ago.
Every player in the country.
Ian Murray obviously loves him because he then had him at Airdrie. He's now taking him to Wraith.
Big chance in Mirren, first minute, and probably should have scored. A Younga just wide with a header from Strain's cross. I just wonder if Stephen Robinson will be cursing that one. And Jack Ross, as we said earlier, really needs a victory, but he's unbeaten against St Mirren in the 6 SPFL games since he left. 4 wins and 2 draws.
He'll need it today. I think this is a big game for John. Look, I'm not saying he's going to be. I think you come under pressure. I'm not going to say he's going to lose his job or anything, but after the last few games and the European campaign, which was an absolute disaster, I think that he's got to get the fans back on board. They were excited with the home leg against AZ. They were excellent that night. They took a lot of pats in the back, and then Livingston came calling, won, and then obviously the disaster on the Thursday night. So and I watched them against Hearts last Sunday, Gordon. I thought they were very, very poor, low in confidence. You can expect that. He's had a week now to turn that round. Dropped the goalkeeper, quite right. I don't know where the boy got his gloves. He must have found them in a wheelie bin for Christmas. It was all over the place. So it'll be interesting to see how they start.
See, when you look at United going forward, the midfield, when who's at the game actually? When Fraser was reading it, the midfield, you've got Levitt and Harks in there, 2 good players. Then in front of them, you've got Middleton, Watt and McGrath, and then Fletcher up front. I mean, how strong is that? So I think the United fans, seeing the signings and getting excited about them, they're quite entitled to expect a wee bit more after that AZ Alkmaar home performance. But I think there'll be a certainty this afternoon.
Yeah, I've taken them. I think that they've got to bounce back. And Mark says there, you talk about the players. They've got a decent squad, Dundee United. They've got good quality, they've got good experience up the pitch, they've got guys that can score goals. Levitt has been a brilliant signing for them, but they need to get off the mark here today.
Bit of brotherly love at Fir Park. Liam Kelly in goal for Motherwell. Sean Kelly in the Livingston team as well, coming up against each other. Why'd you look so you didn't know they were brothers, did you?
I didn't know they were brothers.
The
Seriously.
Kelly brothers. You didn't
The
know the Kelly
Kellys.
The
brothers.
Kellys, no, I didn't know they were brothers.
For
Really?
goodness sake,
To be
honestly.
fair, they did that.
The brothers, really? You just
And a
made that
man
up?
who started his career at Fir Park is the Livy skipper Nicky Devlin. One of those cross-come shots, a bit of both, and well held by Liam Kelly. Annan 1, Stirling Albion 0. Tommy Goss on 7 minutes, which I think, Hugh, gives us a good opportunity to do this.
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since the English Premier League era began, that was season
Whoa. A question about the English Premier League.
Oh, no.
About-
The guy's
about-
right.
I'm not
Hold on,
listening.
hold
This
on.
is a Scottish football show.
This is
That
a
guy's
question.
getting
This is a
right.
question about Scottish people.
Fine, we'll let it slide this time.
Since the English Premier League era began, season 1992-93, only 6 Scotsmen have made 300 appearances or more in the English top flight. Name them. So the English Premier League began in 92-93. Only 6 Scots have made 300 appearances or more in that division. Who are they?
What a question. At Clyde SSB, head over there. You can read it written down if you weren't paying attention to Hugh, which is entirely possible.
Inevitable.
And that is where you send your answers as well. So it's pretty straightforward. You put all the names on one tweet, and it's a bit of a race. You're trying to beat everyone else to it. So get thinking. Send them in at Clyde SSB. I really like that.
Oh, we're flying. We are flying.
Because I think there'll be about 12 names that come to mind, maybe more, and you're going to have to whittle it down and get the right 6. So looking forward to seeing how you get on at Clyde SSB. What a game, am I allowed to mention it, between Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, already 1-1. Ollie Watkins put Stephen Gerrard's Villa ahead, and Wilfred Zaha has equalised. Chance Dundee United, low driven cross by Ian Harkes. It was a great challenge by Gallagher to clear and stop Stephen Fletcher sticking the ball away. So it sounds like a good game, that. Chances at both ends so far.
Exactly the start that Jack Ross needs to pick the crowd up. Never mind the players. I think he would have got through to the players, and they're all kind of single-minded now. But
Did
the
you
crowd.
not see Clear the Air talks?
Yes, among
Is that
the players.
That's that phrase. You don't want to do that in August, do you?
No.
Is that the one he didn't get into the meeting?
Correct.
Yeah, I had a few of them, but what I used to do is stick one member of my staff in, report back to me what they say. Then I
It's
would
early.
get, then
Early
I'd
door.
get
I
the
can
ones
believe
out
that.
the door.
And who was this Grass?
It was one of my staff. I always put one of my staff in.
Oh, he's not willing to name
But
them.
surely
You
the-
can tell that David Field works in the tabloid business. Clear the Air talks. He's described it as a dressing room inquest.
Aye.
It's these phrases that no one uses in any other walk of life, but for football, you have to get it right.
Your
players-
players must have been pretty thick. Not to
They still
understand.
are.
Not to understand that your member of staff would go and clap to you.
Sitting there with his initials on.
Listen, but it was,
Hardly
it
inconspicuous.
was usually my physio, right? So the physio room, I'm not like, but the physio
Oh,
room.
you've done
Under
him
the
in.
bus.
The
He just outed him as a Grass to the whole nation.
The physio's room is joint on really to the dressing room, so he could eerie wig.
With a glass at the door.
and,
Easier.
he goes, Gaffer, just to let you know, number 4.
And believe me, it was Gordon that taught him that glass to the ear trick.
Yeah.
He's done that a few times.
Number
Over it.
4, show him the door.
Not for the same purpose.
Very different circumstances. I like this message I've had from Andrew Mitchell. Did you know such a thing existed, right? Such a thing existed. Andrew sent me a picture. He says, my pal found this moving house. I was a bit worried, right? He found some dodgy things moving house. Not as dodgy as this. It's from the 2007-2008 pin collection, and it's a pin badge of Mark Wilson.
That's a belter.
Who in their right mind is walking about with that pinned to them?
Oh, that's the kind of thing, you wear on your scarf when you're going along and you collect the pins. That's a collector's item there. I love that.
Do you know what, Andrew? See if your pal's willing to send it into us. We'd like to see that.
What do you mean we'll have good fun? I'll keep that.
That is not.
Oh, is it in a package and everything?
Yeah, it comes in its original packaging.
Hold on a minute.
Does that add something to the
He's
value?
been given that and never even opened it. He's
Do I
like,
not
"What
get
is it?"
any?
No.
I not get any cat. If I
Copyright
my
rights.
image rights.
Well, interesting. Maybe Roger Hanna can look into it. It appears to have been launched in conjunction with the Scottish Sun. It's got the Scottish Sun logo.
Roger, I'll expect a cheque in the post.
So what you had to do, right, was you had to cut out your voucher from the Sun, and then that entitled you to get it for $1.99, but only with the voucher.
By the way, hold on a minute. The effort that guys went to cut that out the paper. Right. He must have really wanted it.
Right, this is what I can't understand. Effort cut out the paper, $1.99. I'm all for. I'm on board. Why you? Why could you?
Well, I'm assuming they're all. It was them all.
So you get to collect every player.
No, I think you had to pick. You had to pick your favourite.
Listen, if you had to pick your favourite, mate, you ain't selling $1.99s. Let me tell you. Let me tell you right now.
Well, never forget $1.99 plus the price of the paper. So you're talking
£1.39 back in those days.
Exactly.
That would have been the 30 pence for a newspaper back in those days, Hugh. When did it start going up?
Well, I mean, they're incredible prices now.
They're fortune now.
By the way, that same physio was at Motherwell. Fraser Wishart says he was called the Plant because he knew he would run and tell Tommy McLean what was going on. On a more relevant note, an early yellow card for Beich at Tannadice, so he's gone into the book already. And a poignant one. Football fans always try and do their bit, come together in these types of moments. An applause at Fir Park for Faye Taylor, a 9-year-old who passed away during the week. Does not bear thinking about.
No.
And football fans trying to do their bit and show a bit of support to the family. So there we go, that's that one at Fir Park. Don't forget, you can send your answers into the first half teaser, and please do, at Clyde SSB. Hugh's already given you the question. You can see it over there on Twitter. Let me see your list, you two. Just an early shout.
Right, yeah,
on the side.
Right. Yeah, look, just on the
right,
there.
Okay.
6.
A bit along the right lines.
Yeah.
Got a
You're
couple of
liking
them.
it.
What have you given me? 6 names?
Aye.
You have got
5.
6. 1.
No way.
1 out of 6.
Are you joking?
I'm not even telling you which one.
So this is harder than I first thought when you read that out. You're right, there must be a list of 12, 13 names, and we've got one.
1.
Can you give us a clue which one?
The obvious one, come on.
The short one.
I don't know which obvious one.
Bottom left on your paper.
Oh, right, okay.
Come
Yeah.
on, obviously.
See your suggestions. This one here.
Right, okay. Right, we've
The
got
other
one.
5 were my suggestions.
We've got a starter. We know where we're going.
Oh, no. I've found something worse than the pin badge. Ooh. Absolutely worse than the pin badge. Roger Hanna sent me it. A Bristol City, I mean, seriously.
This isn't going to be good.
After what you did to that football club, a Bristol City hand signed Mark Wilson 2012-13 Match Attacks card
What's that?
on sale for $2.99 on eBay.
Oh, I must admit, I would even say that that's too much for my time at Bristol City. I can't even believe I made the.
Look at
at that.
signature.
Look at the strip.
Do you ever go back and do the half-time draw or anything?
At Bristol City? I don't think I would get in the city. Never mind the ground.
Were you really poor, were you?
It was awful. I was awful. I was coming to terms with leaving Celtic and having one knee, and I came up against. Well, we see that championship at that time. I came up against some good players who
was the best in that league? Because you've spoken about, Ronaldinho and all the Champions League guys. Who were the standouts in that division?
Be Johnny Parson.
I tell you who had he was at Burnley at the time, Trippie.
Yeah.
He was outstanding. He was playing right back as well, but he was outstanding.
So you're right back, he's right back. You ain't coming up
He
against
played
him.
left back a lot, remember?
No, but not for Bristol. But
Nah,
he
he's
kept
on the
whipping
pine
balls
at
in
Bristol.
top of my head. But they were all quick, athletic, and at that time they were just breezing by me. I didn't play a lot down there. Richard Foster took my place.
I blame him. There's a former Motherwell midfielder who's doing great things. Got into the Scotland squad at the end of the season there. Alan Campbell, not known for his goals, but he's put Luton 1-up at Swansea.
Been brilliant, hasn't he?
Still nothing
Been brilliant for
in
him.
our Premiership. Right, I think we're going to hear from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Let's
Does
go.
that interest you? 4 goals, drop points, a penalty, 2 red cards for his team. He's been speaking to Sky. Here's what he made of the game and those incidents.
It was a very, physical game. Of course, after the 2 red cards, we were fighting to get the win. It was always going to be difficult. We almost succeeded in getting the 3 points, but in the injury time, they just fell in the right position and they could score the equalizer. It cost us, of course, with 9 men, a lot of energy to prevent them in scoring. We worked hard to deny them the goal, but in the end we just came short. As I said, it was a physical game. I think first half I saw some tackles, with a lot of passion. The ref decides the decision if it's a red card or a yellow card. John was harsh to get the red card. I think it was a foul, but I think he didn't have any intention to hit him really hard, so I was surprised he gave the red card. So we have to look into it in this one. And the second half, with the physicality they have, it's always going to be fighting duels, especially with long balls. They're very physically, very strong as well. So second red card, I haven't seen it back. We have to clearly see what happened there. But after the two decisions, we were with 9 men. So it was for us, especially when we had the ball, very difficult to keep the ball. And we're just avoiding the goal against us.
So Lundstrom's was harsh. He's surprised he got sent off. That matches the majority of you in here. Hugh, obviously you thought different, but I think most people that have been getting in touch seem to agree with the Rangers manager. He's not seen the second one back, so we'll need to get an update on that.
Surprised by that. I mean, they see everything instantly. They have guys on the dugout, who are in the dugout with them, who have the capacity to show them immediately what has happened. I don't know. I get the impression he has declined to comment on that one just now.
I agree with you, Hugh. You're right. He gets information. He'll
but to be generally, but maybe sometimes, because at that point the game's got extremely frantic. He's gone down to 9 men. He's had to reshuffle. You've got a choice here. You're in danger of calling the man a barefaced liar.
No, I'm not calling him a liar.
Well, he says he hasn't seen it, and you're saying you don't believe him.
Well, I think that you've got an opportunity. You're saying when in the dugout. Generally, when you get in the dressing room after a game, you'll go through and you'll sit with your staff. You'll go over things. You're going to get asked these questions, right?
So you think he has seen it?
Yeah, probably.
So he's lying.
And I think I think he doesn't want to comment on it. There you go.
Fair enough.
I think that's. I think he's just saying, look,
Queen's
I don't want to comment on it.
Up at Arbroath, Simon Murray with the goal there. Mark, I know it does because you've shown your hand earlier, but Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's description of Lundstrom's red card sort of matches yours. Harsh, surprising.
I mean, he's spot on, and he's seen it back. He would have looked at it, and he comes to the same conclusion as us all. Look, a manager is there to defend his players, and he will defend them to the hill at every turn. That's, in my opinion, why he's saying he's not seen it back, the Morelos one, because it's very difficult to look at that as an honest man and say that wasn't a red card. So they'll try their best to get him off the hook, probably because they need him, but it was a red card.
He's only done what every other managers would do. He's ducked out the question, quite rightly so. He didn't want to get caught up in it. He commented on, he used the word physical quite a lot in the thing, saying, and it was physical. It wasn't over physical. I agree with him in the Lundstrom thing. I thought it was a yellow card all day long. Look, he's not wanting. You're right, Mark. He's trying to get Morelos up to fitness. He'll have been disappointed in Morelos, and he's just decided not to get caught up in the conversation. And the easiest way to do that is say, look, I've not really had a good look at it. I've not been able to sit down and look at it yet, and I'll address it probably tomorrow or something. But I think he'll be disappointed. He had the game, he had the 3 points. I don't think 11v11 Hibs would have taken anything off Rangers. 9 men is a very difficult job, and it was the second goal for Hibs, you've got to say, was a quality goal. It was a great strike. You know what I mean? They went card open. It was a very, very good strike.
You never know. It might actually take a while, depending. Rangers have obviously a certain way of doing their media relations, I think, as was well publicised last season. I can't really remember even the process. I certainly don't think there's scope to go and speak to the newspapers now or anything like that. So it might well be the next time we hear from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is Tuesday ahead of the game, and whether people still want to know about Morelos or not, then we will find out. Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 2. The fairy tale, chapter 2 of the fairy tale can be hard, Hugh Keevins.
Gone pear-shaped. They brought Scott Allen on board, but I don't think Scott Allen is an Arbroath type player. I wish him well.
He's on the bench, by the way, not his fault yet.
Yeah, no, but I don't think Arbroath was the club for him. However, I think it has gone off the rails at Arbroath after a stunning season when they very nearly won promotion, and Dick Campbell very nearly won the Manager of the Year. it's gone pear-shaped.
It was always going to be difficult, Hugh.
Yeah.
You know, they lose players, they have to regroup. It's a part-time, the catchment area. Look, you know, he'll keep the team in the league, but last year was a fairy tale. It was a one-off. It was a wee bit like the Leicester scenario when they were up there and everybody thought they were going to fail or drop down the league, and they kept hanging on, and they had a brilliant season under Dick Campbell, and he'll keep them going, but they ain't going to do that this season.
Lee Johnson's thoughts, anyone?
Yes.
My take on the game was first half was really poor. I envisaged a much better performance, a much more aggressive front foot performance. You know, I came into the club with a prerequisite of being a pressing team, and we didn't lay a glove on Rangers in the first half. I made the change, which nobody likes to do, but sometimes you've got to bite the bullet. 2 changes very early, which I think helped us at least have an organisational structure to be able to go man for man, to get tight. There was even things wrong in that, which needed us to get to half time to have a biblical blooming team talk to then get us going a little bit. The boys delivered in the second half, and I think that was what created the incidents. Obviously the goal, the equaliser, good pressure, good counter-attack. Obviously Lundstrom sending off, which is probably a yellow, it's probably a tactical foul in my eyes. At the same time, I didn't think it was a penalty, and I thought Bashiri should have had a penalty. I think if there's VAR, the penalty is 50-50. I think Bashiri is probably 85-15, the one he got dragged down in the first half. There's a lot of incidents, but we created that by our pressure in the second half and what we tried to do, and actually executed much better than we did in the first.
Well, there we are. Lee Johnson even says John Lundstrom shouldn't have been sent off. However, he does think that Rangers shouldn't have had a penalty, and he thinks Hibs should have had one. And on we go, round and round.
Well, the very fact is that the Hibs manager thinks it wasn't a penalty, and one of his players, Aidan McGeady, doing television work today, said it was a penalty. And that's the way this story will play out for the remainder of the day, and for as long as we discuss this match. Will be 50-50 on all of the big calls, because there is never unanimity, and there won't be unanimity about Morelos either, because you'll get Rangers fans saying all manner of things to get him off the hook. But he's just said, Lee Johnson, the most interesting thing, the biblical team talk. Have you ever done a biblical team talk?
Occasionally.
The only thing I would say, you maybe standing on your own now, because we're getting close to unanimity on John Lundstrom. If the Hibs manager says it should have been a yellow.
No, I'm not on my one, because Willie Collum agrees with me.
Wow. What a duel.
What a defence here from Mr. Keevins.
And if anyone wants to sign up to that 2-man club, please don't all phone in at once.
Yeah, listen, there's no shame in just
sometimes you need to hold your hands up and say, look,
no,
on a sinking ship, keep singing the life
from one mistake to the other with no loss of enthusiasm.
Correct. Ricky Lamy at the back post with a header. He was on the stretch. It doesn't really come to much. A Goss free kick. County have had a penalty claim turned down. Sims went down in the box. What did you make of Lee Johnson's interview there?
I thought he was very honest about Lundstrom. I think that we'll all agree, apart from Hugh and Willie. I can see him making the claim for his own, for Hibs penalty, but I thought that, you know, if you look at Hanlon at the back of Tavernier, he's pulling him down as well, so I can understand why that's not given. He's talking about VAR, that'll be in shortly, and hopefully he'll be able to help us out in big decisions. Look, the Hibs penalty is one that we've got guys on here saying yes, they think it was a penalty, other guys saying no. We'll get that. It's a 50-50, whatever way you want to look at it.
What was yours?
I'm saying no, it wasn't a penalty kick for me. I don't think there was enough in it for a penalty kick. I thought Wally got a few things wrong. I thought the Lundstrom was definitely wrong. I don't think it was a penalty kick, because I think Tavernier was getting pulled with Hanlon as well, and I definitely think the sending off with Morelos was 100% spot on.
Pretty honest, I quite like the way he spoke there. And it was interesting to hear about his tactical changes, because that was the main talking point before any of that kicked off. And look, you've got to take your hat off to managers that are brave enough to do it, because a lot, I would say the majority of managers would stand there and say we'll get to half time before we change it. But he's obviously a manager that believes in himself, and he held his hands up. He made a mistake as much as, well, I don't think he was even blaming the players. I think he was blaming himself that he had to do something to change it. So fair play to him. But I do think they're papering over the cracks a wee bit, Hibs, if I'm honest. I think when you look at their season, that they scored a late one at McDermott Park, and then they scored a late one against Hearts, and they get beat last week obviously, and then scored a late one against 9-men Rangers. I don't think it's a season that Hibs fans expected it to be so far, but the points tally shows them to be going along alright.
We'll hopefully hear more from the managers, and you can have your say on the open line a bit later. A reminder of the question, please, Hugh.
Okay. Since the English Premier League began in 1992-93, only 6 Scotsmen have made 300 appearances or more in the English top flight. Who are they?
Okay, some interesting answers coming in. One of the common wrong ones is Dominic Matteo.
Not there.
Nah, I think he's got 276 or thereabouts appearances, so he is not on the list. I can see Derek's giving it a really good go. Robbie Boyd says Brian McClare.
Jockey is not there.
He's also gone Dominic Matteo. A few people have. Stephen Bell says he's stuck between Colin Hendry.
Not there.
Paul Dickov.
Not there.
Okay, he's got a couple. Let me see. Ian Beattie says, is Kevin Gallagher one of them?
Clydebank boy, but no, not there.
Okay. Let's see how that definitely harder than it seems, isn't it? That one.
Yeah, I've got one, definite one.
Well, I told you about 20 minutes ago you had one.
No, I've got two now.
Alright, okay.
It's funny how he puts his phone down and then he gets.
Oh, it's magic, isn't it?
Well,
That's
see,
a coincidence.
see if I was going to cheat, let me tell you, I'd have more than one in my locker here.
But what you'll do is then at the last minute you'll
No,
scribble
there's
down
absolutely
the
no
other 5.
chance.
Right, who's the other one? You can't say, right? No. Write it down for me.
Just say it out loud, and I won't say either way.
Gary McAllister, 100%. Lock it in if you're listening. If you've got 5 and you need that 6, take it from the Dazzler.
Well done.
Gary McAllister.
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay.
There's your dinner.
Never say that again.
That's horrible.
Blair Spittle.
He's writing it down. He's happy with it. He's locking it in.
Blair Spittle had a shot 20-yard, dragged it a bit, it's gone wide of the post. I love this conversation that's just sparked on Twitter now, because everyone's sending me all the weird memorabilia of you two. So Mark Wilson, right, this will be a good
I'm
one
a
for
fridge
you,
magnet.
between you two, right?
Right.
Mark Wilson at his lowest point at Bristol City with the signed card versus you, the signed picture, Man City reserves. What do you think's on sale for more?
Mine must be thousands.
Man City reserves in the 80s, black and white.
Where's he got a card?
It's like a wee kind of picture
Oh,
thing.
a few quid.
Vintage photograph. It's not even signed. Yours is signed.
Mine's
That devalues his if he's signed his.
Mine's
So
got
Mark's
to be
was
more.
worth $2.99.
Come on, more than 3 quid.
What's
Higher or lower?
What's the exchange rate at the moment?
Higher or lower?
Because this is in dollars.
It's in dollars.
Oh,
he's
Belloy.
international.
$12.
$12.90.
Hold on, that must be postage and packaging.
Yes, that's when you
But
know
that's-
you've got fame.
That's postage and packing. No.
Fame and fortune.
$12.
12
Who's,
bucks.
not even who's buying it. Who's think they can sell that for $12?
There's a lot of people selling that for $12, let me tell you. Take 10 for cash.
There's a man who's had quite a career and quite a summer. Montrose won Clyde nil. Rory McAllister. And do you know why he plays for Montrose now and not Cove Rangers?
Yes, I do not know.
It's a great story.
he-
It's something you would do. Put it that way. Something that you
Somebody
would do.
do with work?
Worse, no, he booked a holiday mid-season.
Oh, so he did.
And said to Gaffer, I'm going on holiday. And the Gaffer said, I don't think so. So see you later. He's now a Montrose player and he's scoring goals for them, as he does everywhere he goes.
I know Jim McIntyre well, and I know Jim's character.
Do you agree with that?
Macca wouldn't be one to.
Do you agree with that? A part-time outfit, part-time club.
Right,
guy-
hold
the
on,
guy-
hold on a
hold
minute.
on.
Hold on a minute. Wait there. Right.
The guy-
has just had 6 weeks a closed season.
What
More
happens
than
if
that,
his
probably.
wife can't take the
Nothing-
holidays
Nothing
until a
happening.
certain part? What happens if his family can't
Nah,
take
you've just got to deal with
holidays?
it. You've
No,
just got to deal with it.
can't.
I've told you before, my sister is a teacher and her husband is a lower league footballer, and they very rarely can go on holiday at that time because you just don't do it. It's
You're
just
a
not the done
footballer
thing.
for a short period of time. If within that time you can't subscribe to the schedule like the rest
I
of your
don't-
teammates,
Right, here's
then
one then. When he's on holiday, when he's in a week's all-inclusive in
Yeah.
Marmaris or wherever, and he's got his feet up,
Yeah.
and Cove Rangers get battered that week and Jim McIntyre loses his job, that's the way you need to think about it.
Yeah, the new manager comes in and phones him. Listen, when you buy
we've
your
got factor
holidays,
50 on.
yeah, when you buy your holidays,
it's a brilliant Scottish football story though. It just adds to the drama. Yeah.
Not that many goals in Scotland today. I hope we've not used up a day's excitement at Easter Road, Hugh, because we've actually not got a lot.
Well, it's almost as if Easter Road was too much for all of them. Not a sausage in the Premier League, not a goal anywhere. But we're only half an hour in, so
I was
plenty
going
of time.
to, and I was going to say there's a couple in the Championship, which there is, but I should have corrected it. Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 2 was what popped up on the TV, and then they seem to have corrected it, and it's only
well, how does
what's
that work?
happening?
it's only
Because
1-0.
it was an own goal by, I'm sure, Ricky Little. The second goal, I've no idea.
I'll look into it for you. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
As if we've not got enough to do.
You know what? I fancied Queen's Park up at Arbroath today as well.
Oh, I wasted her 1.5 nil up.
I did. The way they're putting their season together.
It'd be quite a story if Partick Thistle are top of the league right now. It'd be quite a story if Queen's Park and Partick Thistle were vying for promotion to the Premier League. Big day for Glasgow.
Absolutely, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? I'd love to know the story behind this on the video printer, right? Because I've just went through Arbroath's tweets and Queen's Park's tweets, and there is no mention whatsoever of the second goal.
Oh, who's doing the game for them there?
I've no idea. So it's Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 1. Forget that the second goal ever happened, because it, well, apparently didn't. So
We're looking for goals in the top leagues here. The lads are
Yeah, that would
very,
be nice,
very
wouldn't it?
quiet. Yeah, just wonder where that first goal will come from. The most exciting seems to be Motherwell Livingston, I would imagine.
Andy
a goal.
Considine booked for a high foot on Bizawan. Aberdeen fans will let him away with it, won't they?
No.
Oh, they will. I keep banging on about this Sir Alex Ferguson golf day, but it threw up quite a few talking points. The three guys I was in the golf with were all Aberdeen fans from Aberdeen. One of them said, I wouldn't even care if Andy Considine scored the winner against us on Saturday.
Really? He's held in that.
I mean, I'm assuming it was
high
slightly
regard.
tongue-in-cheek, but that was an example of how they feel about him.
Well, he was loved up there, and it's always hard when you're a new manager to stamp your authority. You wonder if Jim could have just been a wee bit more sentimental about it, but it doesn't keep him in a job, does it?
The row over
No sentiments in football from the guy that wants to let one of his players go on holiday mid-season.
And he put a plant in the dressing room to get
Yeah,
information.
exactly.
But there was a row over details of Andy Considine's contract that were leaked.
It all got a bit public, didn't it?
And Jim Goodwin didn't take kindly to that.
I released my best man from football. I put him out of job when I was a manager here.
Which best man though? You've had a dozen.
John McStay was it here, and he come in thinking he was got a new contract, and I showed him the door. I put him out the door.
And that didn't ruin your friendship, because I know you're
Absolutely
both still
not.
friends.
It was a decision that strong characters have to make at that time, and I made it. I looked him right in the eye and said, "There's the front door."
And then it's because you've told stories on the
Take your
show.
boots.
You've told stories on the show before that you two were flatmates,
We're
because you
flatmates.
used to tell everyone, what was it, the Ironing Board Olympics?
Yeah, we had the Iron Board Olympics, which
You
was
heard about this, Mark?
Yeah,
Yeah,
aye.
yeah.
I've heard
Remind
the
us
story.
of what
It's
it was.
ridiculous.
Well, it was quite simple. You got the cushions onto the couch. You got the iron board. Know how it goes up on stages.
Yes,
You
I'm
had
well
to
aware of
do
how an ironing board works.
A back flop over it without touching.
Like
your
a
eye.
Fosbury flop,
Yeah,
the high
yeah,
jump.
Yeah, and you get marks for the landing, and you know how high your legs were. And then we kept raising the iron board, and then if you go
You've
over
got serious problems.
if you go over the iron board, you then put cushions on the iron board to make it harder.
In the living room.
In the living room, yeah, you get a good run up by the TV,
Yeah,
the
like
DVD
you have
player.
told us this before. What I was getting at was this after you released them.
Yes.
Oh,
And by the way, to this day, we're still the best of friends.
If that's not an advert for kids out there not to drink, then I don't know what is.
Please drink
Nothing
responsibly.
to,
Stenhousemuir 0, Dumbarton 1. Thomas Orr's own goal. Peterhead 1, Queen of the South 1. Josh Todd, nothing in the top flight.
Poor. It's absolute poor from the boys round about the grounds.
A good save though from Ericsson. It was Mark O'Hara's low shot. A good break by Ayognan strained to set it up. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 0. That's not ideal, Hugh, when you sign a new number one goalie and then you drop him by mid-August.
Well, his performance against AZ Alkmaar in the return leg, 7-0. Kenny Miller said last night he would have blamed the goalkeeper specifically for 3 of those 7 goals. And then they go to Tynecastle and lose another 4, 11 goals in 2 games. Inevitably you're looking at the goalkeeper, and
he was terrible he was terrible at Tynecastle.
But Dalziel, you're talking about you have to look people in the eye and give them your decision, and Jack Ross has clearly said to him, I don't
think it was a big decision for Jack to make, because I don't think bringing someone into your office and saying, look, I'm not going to play, I'm leaving you out, especially a goalkeeper, you've got to have good reasons and back up for it. And all I had to do was press a video and just show him 11 goals. The boy would have been there all day. But it was a correct decision. As I say, I watched the full game, Hearts v Dundee United on Sunday, and every time Hearts went near a goal, you were thinking, this lad's got to look, I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper. Yes, he's not got off to a great start. He may just need that settling in, but I think Jack was right to take him out the firing line.
Might even have been at the goalkeeper's request, for all we know. You know, players must take it to heart when you've got a sequence of results like that. They might have gone to Jack and said, look, I think I'm better sitting this one out.
She's a manager and you see your goalkeeper coming in saying, Gaffer, I'd probably like to leave.
That's not.
Can I go on holiday?
I feel like I need a rest. It's been a long, hard season.
Slattery tries a back heel from Blair Spittle's cross. He gets it wrong. It goes well wide. It's a Livy free kick, 25 yards out. Kelly on Kelly action. Sean's going to try and dispatch one.
Sounds good
Stop
for you.
it, stop it. Seriously, mic's off. Livy free kick. It's wide of the post. There we go.
What an anticlimax.
Yeah.
That was almost the curse of Friel.
I'm going to give the guys marks at half time to see who can bum up their game most, because 0-0s are very hard.
No, not at all. Sometimes they can be great games.
Your goals are great games.
Listen to him talking down our game. Get that guy back in the phone to
I
speak
like
to
the
English.
English.
Let's talk about the good games in England right now.
Look all the goals flying in the Premier League.
I did have a chuckle.
I'm glad somebody did.
I know, but it was just the thought of using here. The faces on you.
I always try and mention when a Scotland international scores down south. See, that's a good way of linking the two. There's one we don't see too often. Maybe we'll never see again. Liam Palmer. Anyone remember?
Fullback.
Yeah,
he done alright.
He scored
when he
I think he played that night in Kazakhstan, though, didn't he? And that's
sometimes
tough to recover from that. 38 minutes there. Sheffield Wednesday 2 up at Bolton. Still, we could talk about the Scottish results more if more goals would go in. Airdrie 1, though, Alloa 0. Gabriel McGill.
Always got a soft spot from old side, does.
What, Alloa? He did coach there, did you
Alloa,
not?
yeah.
That's where you started.
That's the derby, aye. The double A derby.
You took the under-17s?
The reserves, aye. 17s up to reserves.
Who was the manager then?
Paul Hartley. And then Barry Smith.
No Celtic connection again. No Celtic connections again. Only way you can get a job. Celtic connections and me. That's the only way you get employed.
What about Brecon?
Oh, that was just a joke. I stitched them up in that one. I phoned Brecon and says, you've got a young up and coming promising
you know,
manager who'll take you places.
Speaking about the connection, how I got the job at Brecon, that was the Alloa chairman phoned me and asked me. I was in an interview, and I gave the interview when I was in Turkey on holiday when Peter Grant got the job, and came back, and a couple of weeks later phone goes again, and he said, look, Brecon are looking for a manager, can I pass on your number? I said okay, and that's how
where you're missing the point there. He said Brecon are looking for a manager.
Do you know any
any contacts in the game?
Do you know what was on last week? It is one of the greatest scenes of all time. And you'll hopefully see where I'm going in a minute. Dumb and Dumber, right at the end, right, you two, when it's all said and done, and don't say anything that's going to get us in trouble here, right, please. I'll turn your mic off.
I can't remember the end of the film.
So they're along the side of the road, and the bus comes, and it's, what is it, Miss Hawaiian Tropic or something. It's all the women get off, they've got the bikinis on, and they say, we're looking for 2 guys to come and rub the oil on before the shows, and they go, yep, you'll find 2 other guys down the road.
Honestly, it's one of my favourite films. I love it. Have you even seen it?
Yes, I have, but I couldn't remember the end.
Ross Callaghan's gone into the book, but Derek McInnes thought it should have been a red, so maybe a bit of drama there. Hugh, give us a 2-minute warning on the teaser, just in case anyone needs to catch up and get a couple more answers in.
The English Premier League began in 1992. Since then, only 6 Scots have made 300 appearances or more in the English top flight. Name them.
Right, quickly, we'll do some wrong answers. We're now really getting down to the last couple here, last couple of minutes. I think I gave you some of them to try and help you out. What we got? Do you know what? People are actually really good at this. They're all getting close. Stephen Roy says Colin Hendry. That's not one, is it?
No.
Paul Byrne says Gordon Strachan.
No, not
We've got a goal in the top flight in Scotland at last.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's a goal for St Mirren. Curtis Main, the former Motherwell and Aberdeen man, finds the back of the net for Stephen Robinson's side, much to the frustration, I'm sure, of Jack Ross and those Dundee United fans.
Yeah, the Dundee United fans will be beside themselves. It's a terrible time to lose a goal. They'll be booed all the way to the tunnel now. Great for Stephen Robinson and St Mirren. I'd taken the game for a draw, so that's still a viable possibility, but that's 12 goals now and counting against Dundee United in 3 games.
Yeah, it's not the goal that everybody's expecting at Tannadice, apart from St Mirren fans obviously, but that's a real bad one, especially this time.
Been there at Tannadice.
Fans bad.
Fans no, not bad, but when a goal like that goes in just before half time, it can be difficult to play in. But Jack, when the pressure's on his shoulders as it is, not ideal, especially when we're mentioning the actual lineup Jack's put out today, attacking, forward thinking, and you lose one like that before half time.
It's a pretty crude way of analysing football. I accept that because it's not played on paper, but it is that old one. If you're Stephen Robinson and you look at that 11 from Dundee United, you'd possibly take most of them in your squad, wouldn't you?
All of them,
particularly as you say, some of the big hitters. Dylan Levitt, obviously, Tony Watt, Stephen Fletcher, Jamie McGrath was a big favourite at St Mirren. Yep, football's a funny old game. It is Peterhead 1, Queen of the South 2. Conor Murray just a couple of minutes before the break. I think that's all the time we're giving you. Let's round it off.
Okay.
The first half teaser
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since the Premier League began in a country near Scotland, only 6 Scotsmen have made 300 appearances or more in that top flight. They are Darren Fletcher, Gary McAllister, James MacArthur, Paul Telfer, James Morrison and Phil Bardsley.
You only get 2.
Yeah,
got 2. That was pathetic from you two in the studio. Well done if you got them right. Loads of people getting it right on Twitter. 3rd place was Mikey. Well done, Mikey. 2nd place, Iñaki SL, I believe, and the winner was DJ. Well done to the 3 of you and everyone else. Thank you so much for taking part. We'll have a Who Am I a bit later on. 2 out of 6.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Who else did you go for?
We went for Strachan was one. I put in Gary Naismith. His last 1 year. Neil Sullivan,
goalkeeper.
the goalkeeper.
I know who he is. I'm shaking my head at how bad the answer is.
But funny, Paul Telfer coming up. I love Telf, great teammate. But chatting to Neil McCann, who was a teammate of his Southampton, I believe. He's seen Paul Telfer's now taking up tiling. He's a tiler.
I must have been in that combo. Was that at the golf?
I was at the golf the other day, but he's.
Do you know what?
I need my bathroom done.
I don't know why you're doing that, because that's the sort of thing you throw. I genuinely do.
Don't start that. You're trying to get in before me.
I've moved house and the
Your
only
house is alright.
it's untiled. I've got nothing on the floor.
That's a bad deal you've done there with the builders.
He bought a shell.
Didn't even come with a roof.
The roof will be extra, mate.
This is our we don't know longer travel now.
Big news, Hugh Keevins.
Yeah.
This is the last day. Gonna move into the new house tomorrow.
That's as we
the days of DL and Duncan's Motherwell bus to the SuperScoreBoard studios
are over.
You'll miss all those piercing questions like, is macaroni cheese just macaroni and cheese?
Okay, you 001.
I will miss your your Nathan Carter and Joe Longthorne soundtrack.
Carter's brilliant. Yeah, he'll be at the Civic this year. I'll be there.
It's the end of an era.
Moving to a nicer postcode.
There is no such thing. I will not hear a bad word said about ML1. It is the greatest place on earth, and it's actually a touchy subject, so we don't talk about it. We move on.
I knew that would get off.
I've been dragged against my will. Anyway, let's go. Saved by the halftime whistles before I say something I regret when I go home. David Field is at Fir Park. Oh, I'd love to be at Fir Park. Motherwell, ML1.
Half time, Gordon, Fir Park. Motherwell 0, Livingston 0. I don't know if you really would love to be here. Hugh Keevins said I'd cursed Motherwell before it, giving them the big build up. I think I've cursed the fixture. Maybe I said earlier this was always been a good contest, but it's been a tough watch this time. We've had just one shot on target in 45 minutes, and see, to be fair, that was possibly a cross. This has basically been a case of two teams cancelling each other out. Livy captain Nicky Devlin did have that cross come shot in 5 minutes, but it was easily held by Liam Kelly. Motherwell had a lot of the ball, but they haven't really been able to create too much. Ricky Lamy scored against Livy last time. He tried his luck with a diving header in 21 minutes, but it flew wide. Blair Spittle, he's looked pretty bright. He also had to go from 20 yards, but his low shot didn't hit the target either. Livy have been quiet in the final third. They maybe come into a wee bit more in the last 10 minutes, but Sean Kelly did try to beat brother Liam with a 25-yard free kick before the break, but that also went wide. So let's hope for goals in the second half. Half time, Fir Park, Motherwell 0, Livingston 0.
Not a classic, but plenty of time for that one to recover. Do we have any other half-time whistles yet? Is it just Fir Park? Was it that lacking in action that they've decided to blow the half-time whistle early? Dave Galloway, the wimpy man. It's half-time at the Global Energy Stadium. Take it away, Dave.
Half time here, it's Ross County 0, Kilmarnock 0 after a pretty even but uneventful start. County began to look the likelier team. The ball fell to Hewula in the box, but he shot straight at Walker. The hosts were stringing some really nice moves together, only for the final ball to be lacking. They had a penalty claim rejected when Sims went down in the penalty area, and Killy went straight upfield. Johnson passed up another decent opening for the Staggies with his header from Baldwin's cross, failing to trouble the keeper. County had Callaghan booked for a crude challenge on Alabiozu that incurred the wrath of visiting boss Derek McInnes. He clearly thought from his remonstrations on the touchline that it should have been a straight red, but Kilmarnock did threaten just before the half-time whistle blew when Shaw's cross was cleared out of play for a throw-in, with the figure of Mackenzie just waiting to pull the trigger. So a pleasant day, some pleasant football, but nothing yet to really set the pulses racing. Ross County 0, Kilmarnock 0.
Still no goals. We do have one in Paisley though. Who would have thought? Fraser Wishart, the man for goals. It's at Tannadice, so it's not in Paisley, it's in Dundee. Fraser Wishart.
It is in Dundee. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1. Unlike the other guys' games, this has been a good game to watch. Both sides playing some decent football, but it's St Mirren that are ahead at the break through a Curtis Main goal in 48 minutes. A really lively start to the game. Saints really having a go from the whistle and the game swinging end to end. In the first minute, a chance for St Mirren. Ryan Strain cross from the right hand side. Ayunga, a near post header, inches wide. I thought he should have done much better and perhaps even scored from 6 yards. A couple of minutes later at the other end, chance for United. Good move on the right hand side. He ended up with Ian Hart's driven low cross into the 6 yard box. Great challenge by Declan Gallagher to stop Stephen Fletcher tapping the ball into the net. St Mirren midfielder Keanu Bacchus then Shaw goal bound shot, hit Mulgrew and then go wide. Tempo of the game dropped a wee bit after 20 minutes. Still an open game and good to watch. Saints not just sitting back, but United had a spell on top. The fans enjoying some nice football, few good crosses into the box. St Mirren defending really well, but the Saints had the better chances at the other end. Ayunga did really well, got to the byline, cut it back. Bacchus was denied by a last gasp tackle by Jimmy McGrath, then recalled. United keeper Eriksson denied Mark O'Hara the opener on the break. Ayunga on the left hand side, lovely ball to Strain, whose header was into the path of O'Hara, and his low shot was brilliantly saved by Eriksson down to his left. United then had the turn on top. Middleton dipping free kick 25 yards, tipped over by Carson at full stretch, and then came that opening goal in 48 minutes. Skipper for the day, Mark O'Hara, burst through the midfield of Dundee United. His pass was intended for Main, but it wasn't getting there. Deflected off Dylan Levitt, and the deflection put Curtis Main clean through. Good touch by the striker, and an even better finish low to Eriksson's right. A few boos from the United fans at the break, but they're actually playing quite well. But for all their bright play, they've got no real chances, and they need to do better in and around the area if they're going to get a point or even a win, with Saints playing really well. Half time at Tannadice, Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1.
Well, we've got a goal there, certainly. There was a delay to the kick-off, wasn't there, at McDermott Park, so I think that's why we've not heard from Roger Hannah. In fact, there's 10 minutes left. I didn't realise it was that much of a delay. So what we'll do is we'll give you a full roundup of the half-time scores, and we'll get you a half-time report from McDermott Park later on.
You are the voice of Scottish football. Call 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
It is half-time in most of the 3 o'clock games. We do of course have one full-time result from earlier. In case you haven't heard, it was Hibs 2 Rangers 2. We'll look back on that in the open line. At half-time, Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0, Livingston 0, Ross County 0, Kilmarnock 0, and St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 0. In the Scottish Championship, Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 1, Cove Rangers 0, Ayr United 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Wraith Rovers 1, Morton 0, Dundee 0. In Scottish League 1, Airdrie 1, Alloa Athletic 0, FC Edinburgh 0, Falkirk 1, Kelty Hearts 0, Dunfermline 0, Montrose 1, Clyde 0, and Peterhead 1, Queen of the South 2. Into Scottish League 2 then, Annan Athletic 1, Stirling Albion 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Albion Rovers 1, East Fife 0, Forfar Athletic 0, Elgin City 2, Stranraer 1, and Stenhousemuir 0, Dumbarton 1. To finish with the English Premier League, if you don't mind, a full-time result: Spurs 1, Wolves 0. At the break, Palace 1, Villa 1, Everton 0, Forest 0, Fulham 2, Brentford 1, and Leicester 0, Southampton 0. We will get the second half up and running next.
0141 951 1025. This is Scottish football's league leader, Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Taggart's Volvo, part of the Lookers family. Click and Drive, the simple contactless way to buy a car.
What a welcome. Wow, it's great to be back. We love you, Manchester. It's Leeds.
With Paddy's Wonder Wheel, you get a free spin with a chance to win cash prizes every day. So even if you're wondering what might have been, you won't be wondering when you'll get your next free spin. Paddy Power Games.
One spin per player per day. Each prize carries individual T's and C's. Eligibility rules and T's and C's apply. Please play responsibly. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Taggart's Jaguar, part of the Lookers family. Click and Drive, the simple contactless way to buy a car. 0141 951 1025. This is Scottish football's league leader, Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half's about to get underway around the country. Not quite the case for St Johnstone Aberdeen. Remember, there was a delay there. Is that half time yet in that one, or is it still? No, I think the first half is still going there.
Let me give you another result. Clydebank 7-0 winners, and they had a man sent off, and they missed a penalty.
What competition was this in?
This was a friendly game. Friendly game against Rossborough.
Hold on, there must be a good reason. There must be a good reason he's given us results of Clydebank friendlies.
Because my grandsons all went to the Bankies game today. Last weekend, my grandson was at Brighton and Hove Albion versus Newcastle in the Amex Stadium in Brighton, and this week, Home Park Yoka.
See what's better? They went last week and didn't see a goal.
Yep.
And this week they've got 7
and a red card and a missed penalty.
Yeah, it's Scottish football there in a nutshell.
So,
see, we're
well done
up now.
Well done, the paper hankies.
Did they have their strips on?
Yeah,
strips with the names in the back.
No names on the back yet, but only person in Brighton with a Clydebank strip.
Well, in more competitive pressing issues, we've not got many games in the many goals. In the top flight. Fraser Wishart's got one at Tannadice, and that's pretty much it. Hoping for better in the second half.
Yeah, certainly. I'm sure the guys round about the games will be desperate for goals, because that's what you turn up for, the supporters. A bit of excitement, see goals, see your team winning. So far, one goal. We're desperate for more, but I'll tell you what, the one goal has put a bit of pressure on the home side at Tannadice and the manager, because he'll have to respond, because the fans will not be happy.
The next game, Celtic at Tannadice next weekend.
It is now half time at McDermott Park. Roger Hannah.
Yes, St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 0 at the break here at McDermott Park. Gordon, a 15-minute delay to kick off after a supporter took on well in the main stand. But it was Aberdeen, once we did get underway, who started brightly with Vicente Bejoan really at the centre of everything. He fired in a great cross from the right hand side after just a couple of minutes. Bojan Miecki just couldn't reach it, craning his neck for it, just couldn't quite get there. Then in 7 minutes, Jayden Richardson made progress down the right. It was his cross, a spectacular scissors kick by Besserwan on the edge of the 6-yard box, but it flew beyond Remy Matthews' far post. Aberdeen did have the ball on the net after 10 minutes. Mijovski again, this time with a header from Johnny Hayes at cross. It flew past Matthews, but the stand side linesman had his flag up for offside. Aberdeen really pushing forward at this stage, and former Dons defender Andy Considine was booked by referee Craig Napier after 18 minutes for a high foot on Bejoan just on the halfway line. But St Johnstone slowly got into the game. Daniel Phillips making his first start for the club. He had an angled shot held by the Dons goalkeeper Kelarus after 26 minutes, and then moments later Theo Bear should have had an effort and target, but he took a fresh air swipe at Jamie Murphy's cut back from the left. Then 39 minutes, the first real work for the Dons goalkeeper Roos. A fine free kick from an unlikely angle wide on the right. Graham Carey fizzing it in with his left foot. He really stung the palms of the Dons goalkeeper as he got it away. A couple of bookings for the hosts, or a couple more bookings for the hosts I should say, before the break. Skipper Melker Hallberg got a yellow card for pulling back Richardson, and then Phillips, who's really been lively in the engine room for St Johnstone in his first start, he was also cautioned for a similar foul on Ross McCrory. We could really do with some more action in front of goal. Gordon, St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 0.
The Super Scoreboard podcast is sponsored by Taggart's Motor Group. Taggart's have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. And as Taggart's are part of the Lookers family, one of the largest franchise dealer groups in the UK, you can browse thousands of nearly new and used vehicles in stock nationwide to find your perfect vehicle. They've also launched Click and Sell. It makes selling your car simple by using their trusted dealer network of over 150 sites. Why not give it a go today? See how much you could make on your old car. Taggart's have Land Rover showrooms in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showrooms found in Hillington. Check out taggarts.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Hey Harry.
Hello mate.
What's your tip for the big match?
Well, it's going to be a bit lively, that is for sure. And there's a bit of needle there. They're both dangerous from set pieces and neither one will keep a clean sheet. So your best bet is... clean sheet? Oh, blooming Nora. I've only gone and left the washing on the line.
Harry?
Sandra's going to kill me.
Make your best bet at BetVictor. 18 plus, please gamble responsibly.
Well, let's hope for more action in front of goal in all those fixtures in the Premiership. As we mentioned, Fraser Wishart's the only goal to get us excited about so far. So here's what you've got then. You've got 2 hours left. We're going to take you through all the big talking points as these games come to a conclusion. We'll hear more from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and Lee Johnston. We'll get the second half teaser. We'll see what else comes up, and the open line in 1 hour. Take this number down: 0141 951 1025. Rangers fans, Hibs fans, we need to hear what you made of that game. There was so much to get through, and we will open the phones very soon indeed. Surely we'll get a glut of goals in the second half.
Well, first of all, you have your attention attracted to Jack Ross and what's going on at Tannadice. He needs to find 2 goals. That's a certainty. He needs to find 2 goals. He needs a win to get people off his back. Aberdeen, 3 wins in 15 games under Jim Goodwin, and the Aberdeen fans won't be happy if they come away from Perth with nothing to show for their day. Ross County Kilmarnock, sounds a bit tetchy there. 2 old pals, Malky Mackay and Derek McInnes. No goals, bit of feisty behaviour though on the park. So a lot to play for second half. And Motherwell Livingston, you know, Stevie Hamill wants to have a winning start at home as Motherwell manager, but Livy, you never ever count them out.
Yeah, I think we'll get goals early in the second half. I'm going to be very positive from now until 10 to 5. I think there's enough quality out there. Very interesting, you're right, Hugh, to see how Dundee United react from going a goal down. The boos will still be ringing in their ears walking off there at half time. Ross County Kilmarnock, very tight affair up there. Motherwell Livingston, we're interested in that, but I agree with you. I think that you talk about Jack Ross, Jim Goodwin's got to start getting wins under his belt.
Yeah, but they can't be under pressure at this time of the season.
Well, no, you don't come under pressure, you come under criticism. There's a difference, Mark. I don't think they'll lose their jobs, but I think they need to start winning football games. You can't keep just saying, well, that's 3 wins in 16 as the Aberdeen manager. That's not acceptable. Stephen Glass didn't get that long up there. You know what like it is. Jack Ross has come in with a massive reputation. And the last 3-4 games have certainly not been good enough. Dropped his new goalkeeper as well. So he's a bit of work to do. No, I'm not saying you lose your jobs, but you do come in for criticism.
Yeah, well, obviously I agree with that, but I think I think the two guys in question are good managers who have compiled good squads, but the players really need to start, grabbing the bull by the horns and getting results for the managers. The clear the air meeting with Jack Ross and his players, I always find that quite weird, just allowing the players to thrash it at themselves.
Gives them an excuse, do you think so?
Well, what really comes to them? I mean, I've sat in them before as well, and I've been there and left meetings and gone, what was supposed to come? You got in training.
It's accountability. They are taking responsibility. They're not just leaving it to Jack Ross to take the flak, and they've gone together to see if anything can be done. But in actual fact, he's gone from bad to worse.
Here's a goal scorer. It's a bit early for the who am I, right? I'll give you the who am I in just a second. Oxford 0, Morecambe 1, Jensen Weir.
How's he a goal scorer?
Anyone?
David Weir's boy.
Davy Weir's boy.
Is he? And he's a prolific, is he?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, he's
the
a goal scorer.
today.
Sorry, yeah.
He's just ruined the story there.
Whisper it. And this will not please Eddie on the phone last night. I think his allegiances are the other way,
down the road.
I think he played for Scotland. I think he has played for both Scotland and England's youth teams. But last I checked, it was the England youth team. But there we go. Fulham 2, Brentford 2. Ivan Toney, he's not bad, is he?
Yeah,
he's good.
A name that always kind of stick up here because of the connections. And
I watched him run Manchester United
How
ragged.
ridiculous was that?
It was.
Because we were on our way home from here, weren't we?
Yeah, and it was just incredible. They're in some state, the Reds. Never happened over the other side of the city when I was there.
You look at the league table, number 1, Man City.
Yeah,
bottom, Man United. Dear me.
Talking about managers being under pressure early. If he takes a heavy one against Liverpool, which is possible,
I think
on
Liverpool
Monday,
are struggling
he's
a
under
bit.
pressure.
Okay, Hugh, it's that time of the afternoon. Are you ready?
Okay.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Ronaldinho and Thomas Gravesen. I've been managed by Alec McLeish. I've played for 5 top flight teams in 4 countries. I've played in Scotland and won several cups in England, but I was never capped for my own national team. Who am I? So I played alongside Ronaldinho and Tommy Gravesen. Been managed by Alec McLeish. Played for 5 top flight teams in 4 countries. Played in Scotland, won several cups in England, but was never capped for my national team.
Who am I? At Clyde SSB. That's where you send the answer in. Get it over there at Clyde SSB on Twitter. I don't know why the Vidi printer, if it's even called that, keeps doing this to us today. It's Fulham 2, Brentford 1. There is no Brentford second goal. Stenhousemuir 0, Dumbarton 2. Martin McNiff.
What did they tell you about Dumbarton? They won that league, Nick.
When did you say that?
No, by the way,
Did he?
yeah, he said it
research.
to me.
Oh, this is because he watched one game
Against
when they played Aberdeen in the League
I
Cup.
was in the Aberdeen that day, and I went along just to support teams.
Or you've got one of the dodgy TVs.
No,
You watch a lot of football, don't you?
I do.
A lot
I
of
get about
subscriptions.
Last week,
It's funny, for a man who doesn't like to part with his cash, he manages to see a lot of football games.
What other subscriptions have you got in that?
Dragged myself out of bed to go to Tynecastle last week to watch a Hearts Dundee United game. Brilliant. Getting home is a nightmare. The traffic's terrible. But Dumbarton are your team to win that league, let me tell you.
Oh,
a goal.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's a second of the afternoon for St Mirren and a second of the afternoon for Curtis Main. 51 minutes on the clock. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 2. How much pain is producer Callum going to be in? His team can't buy a win, they can't score a goal, they're 2-0 down at home to Dundee United, to St Mirren, and he is in Reykjavik running a marathon.
Well, half. He's only done half.
How do you know?
Oh, do you know what?
Is it half a marathon?
He's only completed a half.
I thought that was a secret. I was just giving him. No, maybe it was not.
Well, he's posted it.
Hold on. He went to run a marathon and run half.
He wasn't well. I think you were harsh.
No way.
Good to see you've got his back.
Oh, no way. What an embarrassment to the show.
He'll be watching that game.
What an embarrassment to the show. All the way over there with your new Nike trainers on, the shorts up his backside, the big lanky run that he's got in the hair flipping in the wind. Oh, by the way, boys, I think I'll just give this up after 13. I've seen enough.
It must have been bad though, right? I would hate that. But he's a seasoned marathon runner. He's run a lot of marathons, so something must have gone awry. So you couldn't even make it to the end of the corridor running down last week because you weren't well.
There is a connection here though, from Amsterdam to after the show, been off for a couple of days, and then he couldn't complete the marathon the day. Something's happened to him.
But it's alright saying
something's happened to him in Amsterdam that's made him unwell.
Yeah,
I would get him to the doctors just for a checkup.
By the way, seriously, right, you're out there with your number on, probably 427 Callum for Scotland. On away he goes, 13-mile mark, you chuck it. Hey, you troop yourself up.
What's better?
You got a jacket there.
Walk 13 miles to the finish line.
That's the thing. We need to find out a bit more. I don't know if he just then decided that he wasn't well over the weekend and entered the half marathon, or if he gave up halfway through. I get the feeling it was maybe the first one of those options. Do you know what I mean?
Are you certainly giving up? I'm not giving a benefit of doubt. He's not went half marathon. You don't go over to Iceland to say I'll run 13 miles.
Because he's been there for a couple of days feeling under the weather. I think that might have been the case.
You can't feel any more,
catching up with him.
You can't feel any more under the weather than Jack Ross currently does. So, you know, I understand that he won't be under pressure, but Gordon was quite right when he said, but he's now attracting criticism. You can't lose 13 goals and counting in 3 matches and be possibly bottom of the league by tonight and not attract criticism.
I think Morris for Shields, Efford for Cornelius is the double change for Motherwell. Kevin Van Veen has hit the side netting after a good run down the right, and Roger Hanna has got the teaser.
That's no surprise.
I was going to say about United, Hugh, that I think losing to Alkmaar heavily, as unacceptable as it was expected, going away to Tynecastle expected, it's either side of that at home to Livy, and especially this one, that the fans are thinking, what is going on here? And it gets increasingly more difficult for him coming out after games. Run out of things to say.
I think we alluded to that during the week. The easier the fixture, the perceived easier fixture, that just brings its own pressure. You know, again, it wouldn't be ideal, but if he was at Ibrox or Celtic Park today, again, you can't really be too critical. But after a bad run, home to St Mirren, right, go win the game and bounce back, and it doesn't look that way.
Well, as I say, next up Celtic. I think Celtic Park tomorrow will be a real occasion. Following on from Rangers' draw today, the Celtic fans will want to see their team go 2 points clear at the top. But it's Hearts they're playing, not just any old team. So that will add to it, add to the sense of occasion tomorrow. And then when Celtic go to Tannadice, there's a chance for Jack Ross under highly unlikely circumstances. Where Dundee United beat Celtic, then it takes the heat off him. But if Celtic go there and play as they did at Kilmarnock last Sunday and run up another 4 or 5, well, we're starting to get into pressure country then.
And it's nearly 3.
Oh my
3
goodness.
what?
0 on the game that we're talking
right,
about.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
I thought you were still talking about Callum.
Good save from Ericsson.
Well, it does sound to be one-way traffic. The crowd will be incensed, and they won't be slow in letting the players and the manager know all about it. So
wonder a big crowd there today, because they're attracting fans
support,
back. They're bringing.
I keep going back to that night against Alkmaar at Tannadice, and what a terrific occasion, terrific TV it made. A real feel-good story. Everyone was talking about Dundee United, and in the space of 2 weeks, it's collapsed.
And yet they played very well that night. I've got to say, I watched the second half, and they played very well indeed. and you're thinking, right, okay, they'll kick on from that. I didn't fancy them in the return leg, I've got to be honest. I thought that team looked a decent outfit, but to lose to Livingston, then to get absolutely hammered over there, and then you go to Tynecastle, you ship another 4. Today you're looking for a bounce back.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not going to plan. I don't know what the team meeting was said. Probably if we lose on Saturday we'll have an R1 on Monday, and we'll see if that works. But you're talking about their next game, Celtic play Hearts tomorrow. Celtic will win that game very comfortably tomorrow.
Yeah,
I've no doubt.
The boos are ringing out at Tannadice. The second half's just started at St Johnstone, Aberdeen.
By the way, what mentioned for Stevie Robertson? Just a couple of weeks ago we were chatting about him saying under pressure, bad start to the season. Then Richard Tate scores an absolute worldie last week, and they're 2 up at Tannadice. What a result.
Cove Rangers 0, Ayr 1. Ben Dempsey's 59th minute penalty. Elgin 2, Stranraer 2. Craig Malcolm with the equaliser for Stranraer. So no problems down the leagues. No problems in why do I keep saying Paisley? In Dundee either. But everywhere else really. Motherwell, Livy, Ross County, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, Aberdeen, all goalless. It finished 2-2 at Easter Road between Hibs and Rangers earlier. Will we hear a bit more from those managers?
Yeah.
This was Giovanni Van Bronckhorst on the penalty Rangers got.
Well, I mean, I saw, that the ball went back to the goalie. I think Antonio wanted to press him, and I don't know, I haven't seen it, but it looks like he held him with his hand, so it's a foul in the penalties box. I wasn't sure about the rules because, I think it's a difference when it's like a clear scoring chance or not. So that was the argument with the linesman and the fourth official. So, once they decided it wasn't a clear opportunity and it was yellow, so for me that was over.
Is there a debate whether it should have been yellow or red card?
Well, clearly Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has heard people say it could have been a red. I don't think it was, but Giovanni Van Bronckhorst thinks it was a penalty as well. Of course he does, because the Rangers manager. But for me, the explanation is twofold. The ball from Porteous is sent back to the goalkeeper. Cholak moves in that direction, and whatever you say about soft, this, that, the other, Bashiri tries to impede his progress. That for me means it's a penalty.
What I've learned is there is a good debate, right? I know people don't want to hear that. They're all convinced about their own take on it. That's a decent debate about whether or not it was a penalty, because as Hugh's outlined that case, there is contact there's a kind of pull back. The other side, is there enough? Does every contact mean it has to be a penalty? So that's a good debate. Is there really one about it being a red card? I mean, because it has to be a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity.
He's not getting it.
How yeah, I'm struggling to sort of even hear what that side of the argument would be. How would you make that out to be a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity?
In the same way that you would say that Morelos didn't deserve to be sent off. You're being blinded by bias. It clearly wasn't a goal scoring opportunity because the pass, Mark thinks it's a foolish pass that Porteous made. That's not really the argument.
The point would be if Cholak was on the ball and was running towards goal and Bashiri pulls him back, then that would have been a red.
People get confused nowadays with the rules. There's that much surrounding the rules. People still think the last man. Remember the times it was the last man made a foul, it was a red card, but it's moved on since then. It was never a red card.
A bit more from the Rangers manager. Tom Lawrence took that knock, didn't he? I mean, he scored. Will he be fit for midweek?
Yeah, it was a good move, good attack, great cross, great goal. He was caught in a bad tackle and twisted his ankle a little bit, so just took him off, and we have to see if he's fit for Wednesday.
Non-committal, I don't think. We'll find out maybe in a couple of days coming.
You
I
don't
thought it was
really
a good goal
assess
that from Rangers.
Yeah, you don't really assess that until tomorrow to see how the injury reacts over the next 24 hours. But going back to the goal, I thought it was, they got down the left hand side with Ken. It was a 2v1 and Barisic has made a great overlap, but the quality of the ball is top class. Top class as a midfield player and a striker. You're running into that position, all you're asking for is a decent delivery. He certainly gave Lawrence a decent delivery. It was a great header. All he has to do is make sure that's in target, that's beating the goalkeeper. He's a big player for Rangers. I think they'll be desperate to get him fit for Wednesday night.
You've all been here before. The conversation is going to be about Willie Collum and whether or not he cost Rangers the 3 points, and everything else will get lost in the noise. So for just one brief moment, what did you make of Rangers' performance today?
Not good enough. They got the penalty, and that papered over the cracks with regard to the first half. They did nothing of a threatening nature in the first half. Got the penalty. Tavernier scored. The second goal from Tom Lawrence is a beauty. It's a terrific cross. It's a marvellous header from Lawrence, and that was the end of the story for Rangers. I don't think they played well enough. I said that during the game that if they play like that in Eindhoven, there'll be no Champions League for them. And I think that Morelos, his sending off is even worse, because players who were under the cosh, playing with 10 men against Hibs 11, the last thing they needed was a player like Morelos to get a red card that was undeniable. And they've had the kind of afternoon, both in terms of their performance and in terms of what was taken out of them. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst said it cost us a lot of energy. So the whole day, Ryan Jack was cramping up before the end. The whole day has been a bit more arduous than I think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst would have expected.
Joe Effords had a shot deflected wide from Motherwell. What about you two? What did you make of Rangers' performance before we inevitably just get bogged down in all the refereeing stuff?
All the talking points will be the referee, the sending offs, the penalty kicks. Take that aside, I didn't think Rangers were at it today. I look at Matondo come in quiet. Cholak, for instance, okay, you need the service, you need the balls in the box, didn't really link up the play. I just thought Rangers, I didn't think they played at a quick enough pace for me.
Penalty Motherwell, it was David Friel had just got in touch to say Motherwell were definitely on top, and then that penalty's been given. So Kevin Van Veen's already scored one from the spot away to St Mirren. It was a deep corner to the back post. Ricky Lamy headed it back across, so you'd have to assume it's one of these handballs, with the arms go up sort of thing as the ball comes back across. So Livy are absolutely raging. Cannot wait to hear Marvin Bartley's take on that on Monday night. We've brought him forward this week, I think. Kevin Van Veen to take. You might not care too much if it doesn't go in the back of the net. Let's see what the Dutchman can produce from 12 yards out. There's probably a bit of a delay as the protests go on.
Centre forwards don't miss penalties, Gordon.
Why have you just done that? Do not do that to me. Well, Shea Adams has scored for Southampton.
There you go. Ring the buzzer. We're ready
against
to go.
Leicester, Scotland International.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Makes no mistake, his second penalty of the season, his third goal of the Premiership season, Kevin Van Veen, and he puts Motherwell 1-up at home to Livy.
Amazing start for Stephen Hamill. I mean, a brave decision for the Motherwell board to let Graham Alexander go and to give a rookie manager a shot, but he's certainly getting the results at the minute. If that stays that way, to go level on points with Celtic.
They're almost an inspiration for Jack Ross, because that's how quickly fortunes can change. 2 defeats to Sligo Rovers, home and away, not a goal score against a team from the League of Ireland, manager binned, and then the great debate, and they give the job to someone who's never managed before, and all looking good right now.
I think we'll be talking about this every week, Hugh. I think that we'll pick on Jack Ross just now, Dundee United. I think Aberdeen will go through the spell. I think Hibs will go through it. I think Motherwell. I just think that below the, probably call them the top 3, Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Rangers, Celtic, Hearts, Hearts, Celtic, Rangers, whatever you want to call it. I just think, just in case anybody gets offended, Gordon, you know what like people are out there. I want to just keep in everybody's good side. The clubs are capable of a run. You look at Ross County last year, for instance, went in a terrific run, top 6. Livingston are always in there about it. They could get beat the day, could get next week, and then all of a sudden put 2 or 3. I just think that will be the pattern throughout the season.
Well, you'll be happy because
with the silence here, I don't think he's going to agree.
No. I mean, you argued. Did you not argue against Stevie Hamill getting a job? Thought
no,
it wasn't the right choice. But
no,
he's leading you to joint top.
I didn't say it wasn't the right choice.
You said you were surprised.
I was surprised. I said
that
I
means
was
you thought it was the wrong choice.
No, I didn't. Don't put
If you were
words into my mouth.
surprised.
I was surprised because I thought they'd have went with a bit of experience.
Latest goal in Scotland is Stirling Albion's equaliser against Annan. Adam Cummings with the goal. I take that back. Ewan O'Reilly's just scored for Stenhousemuir to make it Stenhousemuir 1, Dumbarton 2. Now, this is not the only big football match coming up or round the corner. I'm pleased to say I'm joined on the phone by a man who's been on this show before. He's Kieran Burns, and he's one of Scotland's power chair football players. You may remember Kieran came on and gave us a real passionate explanation of his sport and why he loves it so much. How's it going, Kieran?
Hi Gordon, how's it going again? Everything's good. We had a long day travelling today. I've just got into Geneva, the hotel. We've been driving all the way from Glasgow to get here, so it's been a long few days.
Wow, Glasgow to Geneva. And the reason, Kieran, that we've got you on, just quickly, not to interrupt Kieran too much, Aberdeen have taken the lead at McDermott Park, so it's 1-0 to Aberdeen. Kieran and his teammates are in Geneva, as he says, for the EPFA Nations Cup. That's right, isn't it, Kieran? The equivalent, really, of trying to qualify for the European Championship. Yep.
Exactly that. It's an 8-team tournament that has Scotland, Belgium, Italy, Switzerland, Spain, Germany and Austria. So the top 3 teams qualify for the Euros, and we don't want to just qualify, we want to go there and win it.
I'll bet you do. That's the spirit. I like that. How's the training been going? How's the preparation?
The training has been very intense. For the last 8-9 weeks I've been training every day and for hours in the hall myself with my brother, and just working on technique, but also going to the gym twice a day, every day, and eating right and making sure I'm in the best condition I could be in, because the hall we're playing in is notoriously known for being very hot with no air conditioning. So I've been putting a lot of effort into be physically and mentally ready for this, and I can tell you that the training sessions have been of a very high standard. We are very focused on making sure that we can go there and create history for Scotland and do the country proud.
Brilliant. I was going to say, what you talk about making history, what does this mean to you and your teammates, Kieran, to have this opportunity to represent your country in this way?
Well, Gordon, it's hard to put in words what it means. I mean, I've been playing the sport for over 10 years, and I was at the very first session we had all those years ago when there was very little equipment and very little people that knew the sport. And one of the things that's really been on my mind that I'd like to share here is, you know, throughout my time in the sport, we have lost a lot of people, lost a lot of players, and one of the things that people don't really know about very much is the fact that there's a lot of our players that have life-limiting conditions, and you know, I've lost a lot of friends and been at probably one too many funerals for my liking over the past 10 years, and I think that for us it's not just about creating our own history and creating new history, but remembering those that we've lost on the way here and how much the impact of this sport has had on every one of us. When we go out and play for Scotland, we're not just doing it for us, we're doing it for everyone that's missed out and not being able to have the chance of a fair life to be here now and be competing with us, and I'm sure they'll be watching over us during the tournament.
Absolutely, well said. Take us through, you talk about, you know, the impact the sport's made to your life, Kieran. Like, it's a bit of that cliche, isn't it? You know, loads of young boys and girls dream of playing for Scotland when they grow up, and now you've got the chance to do that. What's that journey been like, and you know, growing up and trying to get to this point?
It's been absolutely crazy, Gordon. I can't even really, like I say, put it into words, because there's nothing that could do it justice. But what I can say is that, you know, I've seen the difference it can make to people's lives on and off the pitch, and what it done for me is allowed me to realise that being in a wheelchair wasn't such a bad thing, and that there was a great community there. But also, you know, over the last sort of year or so, I've really taken it as a personal responsibility to get the sport out there and keep the sport alive. And one of the things that happened for me is, you know, about 8 months ago, before I came on your show the first time, I was in hospital with pneumonia and wasn't doing so well. And I remember feeling quite low mentally and not in a good place. And the thing that made me want to fight for that was to fight and come out and keep this sport alive and keep the memory of these people that aren't with us anymore alive. And for me, you know, looking at what it can do, it's the fastest growing sport in the UK. I've been in discussions with a lot of the big clubs, and you know, we work just as hard. I've trained like a guy in a fight camp for this for the last 8-9 weeks. You know, really putting my body through a lot of physical pain to make sure that I was mentally ready for this. And I think that, you know, what we experience when we go on that pitch is the fact that, you know, all our lives, nobody ever thought we could play football, never mind play football for Scotland. So now we really take it, like when you talk about, people talk about football and they talk about passion and how much people care about sport. For us, it's like, it's everything, it's our lives. We never thought this was going to be possible, and when we go out in that pitch for Scotland, we're going to leave everything out there and make sure that we give everything we can for the country. So everybody's really excited for it, and I'm sure we'll do really well.
We wish them all well, don't we? Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon Dale.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yes, brilliant. And they'll certainly go and win it. I love that positive.
Think so? You like Kieran's mental
Go
attitude?
And
I like
to
it.
drive all the way to Geneva.
So when's the games, Kieran?
Well, the game kicks off on Monday. The tournament kicks off on Monday at 5 o'clock UK time, and we are actually opening the tournament against the host Switzerland. So it will be streamed on the EPFA YouTube channel. So you fancy seeing me score a couple of goals?
I like that. That's confidence.
Brilliant, Kieran. You're a good man. You're an inspiration. Well done. We're all proud of the efforts of you and the guys going over there. So hopefully you get some victories to match that as well. We'll keep a wee eye out on those results. That was Kieran Burns, all the way from Geneva, where Scotland's power chair football team are hoping to qualify for the European Championship, the EPFA Nations Cup it's called. That would be the equivalent. And the top 3 out of this tournament qualify for that, so we wish them well.
Yeah, good luck, Kieran.
Love his enthusiasm, eh?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, see when he says
such a great ambassador,
been training so hard for it. I mean, you got to take your hat off to that. Very difficult to do.
Brilliant. We wish everyone well. We'll keep an eye on those results in the coming days. In the 3 o'clock games today, Annan Athletic 1, Stirling Albion 2, so the turnaround complete there down in Annan. Danny Denham on 76 minutes, no goals. Additionally, the one we didn't get the chance to react to when Kieran was on the phone is 1-0 Aberdeen. It was a foul on Johnny Hayes, and Leighton Clarkson dispatched the free kick. He's clearly got a bit of technique in there. We saw the goal he scored when he came on for his debut. Yeah,
sensational. Up here from Liverpool, and really making a good job of that loan move. Jim Goodwin must be very happy to have him. Jim Goodwin, after the defeat from Motherwell at home last weekend, needed a pick-me-up, and he's some way towards getting it, but it's not over yet.
Another one we'll need to ask Marvin Bartley about. I'm keen to get his thoughts on this when he comes on. Livy made a substitution on the 65th minute. It was Dylan Bambula came on. He's just been sent off.
After 10 minutes?
12 minutes.
12 minutes.
2 bookings in 12 minutes, and he's gone.
Marv will not be happy with that.
Marv's
really.
probably said, look, go out there, make an impact. Boom.
Hey, get us back in the game, son. On you go.
Show us what you've got.
Marv never strikes me as a great lover of referees.
Understatement.
So I should be listening on Monday night to see what he made of it all. But I think I already know in advance.
Well, he's a big Hibs man as well, of course, so he'll have had a keen eye on events earlier on, so we'll get his take on those. Which means the only game in the top flight without a goal is Ross County Kilmarnock.
At least
he's had his wimpy
kid.
He would have fell asleep. Tommy full of wimpy, feeling a bit sleepy. There's probably 2 each up there. We've not heard anything from him.
I'll nod off. I've had the button.
Remember the other night on Beat the Pundit, the guy phoned in from the Bath.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that when you two were on?
I beat him.
I had to get that one in there, didn't he? He phoned in from the Bath. He's been tweeting. He's tweeted me today.
For the Bath?
Hopefully not. Hopefully he's learned his lesson. Where is he? I've lost the tweet now. But basically to say that his mates are now... Gordon, there we are. It's Graham from Bayliston. My friends on their phones have now changed my name to Bathman.
Bayliston, my neck of the woods. That's where I'm from as well.
Come back on. Arbroath 1, Queen's Park 2.
Absolutely.
No.
I love the commitment though to these types of things. I also wanted to mention a message I received from Brian Robertson on Thursday night, right? And he tweeted in to say, he sent me a DM on Twitter to say that Rangers' last signing from Dundee United was John Daly, not Stephen Thompson, because remember that was the full-time teaser.
Yeah.
And I said, yep, great shout, happy with that, hands up. And Brian said that he went and made himself a Twitter account specifically to send that message. He says, I just could not have DL thinking that he was on a roll.
That's right, but
so the guy did not.
Was my answer.
Was it Daly? Yeah, I take it
was my answer.
But you're part of the team.
Yeah.
So Brian did not even have a Twitter account, and he thought, I need to put this lot right. And he's gone off, signed up for Twitter, logged in, and sent his first ever message to put you two in your place.
Well, let's follow him and get his followers up to 4.
I take it he is correct. Is he?
John Daly, was it?
John Daly. Did John Daly go elsewhere before Rangers? No, I think he.
I didn't even bother looking because I just assumed Brian sounds like a knowledgeable fella, unlike you two.
That's the influence we have. We annoy people that much that they're willing to begin a social media.
Now I think
account
about it, it could be John Daly. I think I'll set up a Twitter account myself.
Yeah.
Who did we say? Stephen Thompson?
Stevie Thompson, aye. The new Gary Lineker. Of course. Scotland's Gary Lineker.
Where are we on the scores? Not a great deal from Scotland at the moment, so we'll leave that there. Let's check in the full-time teaser, Hugh. The second half teaser, my apologies.
I have played alongside Ronaldinho and Thomas Gravison, have been managed by Alex McLeish. I've played for 5 top-flight teams in 4 countries. I've played in Scotland and won several cups in England, but was never capped for my national team. Who am I?
FM Dafty's maybe forgotten that last clue because he's gone Van Bronckhorst.
No.
He's got loads of Dutch caps. Iñaki says Near Beaton.
No.
Rick says Lee Sharp.
No.
Right. Gordy says, is it Yuri Yarasik?
No.
Okay, keep your guesses coming in at Clyde SSB.
Yuri Yarasik, mate. I was saying to you about him the other night. Remember when we were chatting about, we got into the subject about a player now being named in the squad, but
I picked up his yeah.
So I said to him off air, I said, that you ever come across that?
What?
And
come across what?
That a player getting stripped and find out they weren't in the squad. So
I've been in the dressing room.
He put the strip on.
He comes in and your strips, everybody strips obviously in the locker, you know, in preparation. The kit man doesn't know who the manager's going to pick, and Yuri comes in and he gets the shorts on, the socks on, the warm-up top on. He sits with the boots and everything on. We're thinking he's went a bit early here. He has went early. Everyone's sitting there.
So did you think he might not be in the squad?
I was thinking that I hope he's not in the squad because this is going to be funny. And sure enough, comes in, names the team, warm-up gear off, shorts half, tracksuit back on.
I've only had the blazer and the peg one. That's it. Where you put your blazer next to your number.
And it's not your number now. 5 minutes later
you went from 8 to 12 and somebody takes your blazer and throws it over and goes, there your number. I've had that one once.
We've had a few red cards in the top flight today. 2 for Rangers. Livy have gone down to 10 men. So have Ross County and Ross Callaghan, who Derek McInnes felt should have had a straight red earlier in the game. He's now got his second yellow and off he goes. So maybe 10 minutes for Kilmarnock to try and make that numerical advantage count.
Oh, sounds a bit feisty in Highlands. Both could do with a result. Both at this stage might think I'll take a point.
You're not going up there as a fan for a 0-0, Hugh, for Kilmarnock, surely.
No.
That's a long journey.
That'll be the longest journey in the top flight, I assume.
Yeah.
Have to say so. Unless I don't know why I'm taking geography advice from you right enough.
I'll give you the mileage.
Go on then.
I would say it's over 200 anyway. 276.
Okay,
that's a decent guess.
Nah, 207.
But it depends what way you go.
Yeah, well, if you keep driving until you reach
7-mile detour,
you might stop off somewhere.
Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Brennan Johnson on 81 minutes.
Famous dad. He's got a famous dad, that lad.
Boris?
No. I can't remember his name. He played up front. He's a great goal scorer. Johnson.
Andy?
No, he goes to the game. I wish I had said this now.
He can't be that famous.
He has got a famous dad, centre forward, scored bags of goals.
David
Johnston, there you go.
The one that played.
Is it David?
He's not that famous.
Yes.
I've never heard him.
He was a top player.
Liverpool.
No.
He can't be that famous.
David Johnson.
He's got 148 Nottingham Forest appearances.
There you go.
But other than that, it wasn't that well known, to be fair.
A lot of goals, Gordon.
He's not famous.
Yes, famous.
If you don't know, you don't know his name after saying he's got a famous dad. He's not famous.
He's got 4 caps for Jamaica.
There you go.
He's famous in Jamaica.
He's an international famous.
I tell you what, you've went one of your honeymoons to Jamaica. Herr Bellman thought this guy has a ticket.
Good to see the Scottish strikers doing the business. Shea Adams has got his second against the Brendan Rodgers Leicester. Southampton 2-1 up. The reason I put such emphasis on Nottingham Forest before we get distracted with Jamaican internationals, what about the signing that Nottingham Forest made during the week?
Ridiculous.
You know that every now and then one comes along, and there have been loads of examples over the years, but one transfer just comes along and you think, no, stop it. The money, it's just gone too far. Morgan Gibbs White, who, I hear you say, with no offence if he's listening, £44 million from Wolves to Nottingham Forest.
I think it's something like 27 million or something up front, but then
Doesn't
we
matter,
add-ons,
it
could account to that.
Couldn't buy me in a day's market.
I don't think you'd be playing in today's
couldn't
football.
buy me.
No, it's amazing how the prices in England are just scarily out
I'd
of
have my
touch
own
with the rest of the world.
I'd own my own private jet parked right next to the Civic Centre, waiting to take me anyway.
You would play for 1 year, I reckon.
I wouldn't even play for a year. I would get to the winter months, fake an injury, and sit back and relax and take everybody up.
What was the injury you faked, or do you not hit yourself with a hammer?
I'm a big toe. I did try and break my toe just to get out training.
What's the story again? I've heard it.
I couldn't do the training at Ibrox when I went.
Was it not weights or something?
Yeah,
you were scared to get in the gym?
and running in the gym and all that, and I couldn't lift the weights, gone. So I always thought, right, how do I get out? I'll kid on, I'm injured. So I went home at night, got the hammer out, got the big toe out, and I'm trying to get it blasting.
No way.
Yeah, that's
until you went in the next day and the manager said you don't need your toe to lie on your back and lift these weights.
No, but it was a Tuesday afternoon, and what you done was weight session, run session. I just could not. I was too light. No, I'm a sprinter, Gordon. There's a difference between a sprinter. Alan Wells wasn't a runner, he was a sprinter. So you've got to get these facts right.
I thought you had a bit of distance in you as well, no?
I was okay, but I was more over the 5 yards. I was lightning quick.
Ross County down to 10 men. Would Kilmarnock take the numerical advantage?
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's the 10 men of Ross County that have found a way. It's Owura from close range. He's had a bright start to his career at Ross County, a crowded penalty box, and he finds the finish. Down to 10 men, but Ross County, who've got no points on the board up until this point, have taken the lead with 4 minutes to go.
Owura has done me a real favour, because I took Ross County to beat Kilmarnock, and I've got every other one wrong. So Owura has possibly prevented me.
As it stands, Hugh, Kilmarnock are bottom of the league. As it stands, I didn't find. I know you guys. Some of the pundits in here, I don't know who, top six and all that nonsense. I don't even know how they come up with that. I thought Kilmarnock would struggle this season. I really did.
Kilmarnock bottom, and Dundee United now second bottom as a consequence of that goal.
Well, we're not. I think we'll still turn it around. For the avoidance of doubt, it was me who thought Kelly would have an alright season.
I think a lot of people thought that, and I think it was all down to the experience of the manager. But they were in our team. I done a little bit of homework in the close season.
Tell you what, he has been doing his homework, right? Roger Hanna's just sent me a message. Did you now know David Johnson, father of Brennan Johnson, Scotland actually approached him to try and see if he was Scottish? Had any Scottish blood?
They won't tell me wear a kilt.
Craig Brown.
Craig Brown?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Craig Brown era, right?
The year 2000.
Is his dad member?
I thought you're talking 70s or 80s, and that's why I didn't know.
This is the problem. We're now old enough that 46-year-olds have sons that are scoring in the English Premier League. It's just where we're at.
I never heard him then.
He's famous.
Guy, stop saying he's famous. He's not famous.
He's nearly a Scotland international, but he decided to go.
He has a good bit of knowledge for Roger. Roger knows his thing.
Roger's just
you hear a snapshot of things and piece it all together, and it often comes out.
I'm giving you information that you should be gathering for your days later on.
Dumbarton have probably wrapped it up, you'd have to say. Stenhousemuir 1, Dumbarton 3, Finlay Grey were into time added on, which means, Hugh, we probably should do this.
Okay.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Ronaldinho and Thomas Gravison, been managed by Alec McLeish, played for 5 top flight teams in 4 countries, played in Scotland and won several cups in England, but never capped for my national team. I am Mikel Arteta.
Mikel Arteta. You know that if you've done all that and you've not been capped, you know it's only one of a couple of nations that you could possibly come from. Because he was what a player, but if you've got Xavi and Iniesta and Busquets and all the rest, it's going to be tough to get in the team. So with that in mind, Adam Dow was in 3rd place. Well done to you, Adam. 2nd place was Shop Smart idea, and 1st place was John Mitchell. Well done, John. You are the winner of the second half teaser, and we'll do the same again on next Saturday's show. What we've done now is left some time for late drama. Killie, St Johnstone, Livy, they all could snatch equalisers, they all could rescue a point. It looks like it's beyond Dundee United. Hugh, are we getting anything?
I don't think so. I think we're done for the day. And obviously, the story of the day is Hibs and Rangers. I mean, several stories wrapped up in one package. But after that, you're talking about this disastrous run that Dundee United have gone on. 13 goals conceded in 3 games. And well done, St Mirren. That's a terrific away win for them. Aberdeen, they'll be happy that Leighton Clarkson got the only goal of the game for them. And Malky Mackay, delighted to be off the bottom. Derek McInnes, not so happy about being the one to replace him at the bottom.
He's got 4 minutes to get something. Derek McInnes, 4 minutes added on.
Well, I mean, they've taken a 5-0 pounding from Celtic last weekend. Now they've gone to the Highlands to play the team bottom of the league. They haven't scored there either, and against 10 men. So it's a depressing sequence of results for Derek McInnes.
Oh, I cannot believe that's happened. Look at that scoreline. Is that East Fife and Forfar? Guess what the score is?
1-0.
It is 1-0. I forgot you can see the TV. I thought I was going to reel you in with the 5-4. And speaking of reel you in, who scored for East Fife?
Troughton.
Alan Troughton. There we go. We're here all week. Alexander Mitrovic, that absolute goal machine who couldn't get the better of Declan Gallagher, has scored for Fulham, obviously, because he always does, and it looks like they'll beat Brentford 3-2. Big result for Falkirk. They're needed to get up and running, not up and running, but certainly fans looking for a more positive season this time around. Romain Burrell on 90 minutes makes it FC Edinburgh 0, Falkirk 3.
Yep, needed that. After last week, they were pretty good. Turned it round, and that's more like Falkirk. FC Edinburgh went off the rails since they've changed their name, by the way. They were a good outfit, but having a poor season.
What would you change your name to? If you pick one other name to replace Gordon, what would it be?
That's a full show right there.
Arminio. I'll go Arminio.
That's not even a name.
Arminio or Gardino. I think.
Come on, seriously.
I'm more of a sort of a. I'm not a Derek or anything like that.
Bruce.
No.
You look a bit of Bruce.
A wee bit of, yeah. Alexander. Maybe something round Dave.
Alexander. No, I think Bruce. I like that.
Do you like that, Bruce?
Oh my.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Dundee United 0, St Mirren 3. Alex Grieve in the 91st minute. Hugh.
Yeah, it's pressure time now. You cannot be losing 3-0 at home, with the greatest respect to a team who will be bottom 6 all season long. It has gone horribly wrong. It's now 14 goals in 3 games. He dropped the goalkeeper today, Jack Ross, but he's 3-0 down. There will be bedlam at Tannadice.
Yeah, Dundee United fans, producer Callum, phone us, let us know what you're thinking. That's a disastrous run. Some suggestions coming in. David Friel thinks Barry would be a good alternative name for you. Barry
yeah.
You see that?
John McStay just texted me and said, after Free me call yourself Richard. But I've just received a text from a producer, Callum, in Iceland. He's asking for an Uber number to get back 13 miles.
What was about this? I wish this had come in earlier in the show and we could have really stuck the boot in. I hope this is true. Smiler has tweeted this. We might need to get the lawyers onto this one. Dazzler promised for months to come and do a coaching session with a club I was with at the time. Even gave me his phone number. Boasted about how good his sessions were. Fair play to Mark for actually coaching the kids, because Dazzler used a different excuse every week. Once he said that he was taking one of his wives to ice hockey.
I used to go to the ice hockey. The clan.
Excuse.
The clan. Hold on a minute. It was a family.
Any other sport.
Hold on.
See, that might have been believable.
That is a total lie right away, because coaching kids, it's a Saturday night, I go to the ice hockey.
Exactly.
Right?
So this is your own excuse that you're blowing apart here.
Right. So I wouldn't say I can't make it Saturday night, because there was no training session on the Saturday night, because the Braehead clan were playing.
So you're just saying that's just completely untrue.
I don't even know what that guy is.
8 years. You have never mentioned ice hockey to me.
I
once,
loved the Braehead. I used to go every single week.
How many players play in an ice hockey team?
6.
Is that a good guess?
It's full time at Fir Park. Let's speak to David Friel.
Full time, Gordon. Motherwell 1, Livingston 0. Stevie Hamill's dream start as Motherwell manager continues after Kevin Van Veen grabbed the winner from the penalty spot. Hamill now has 2 wins from 2 official games in charge, 3 from 4 overall. It's easy work for him here. Van Veen's second half penalty was the difference against Livy, who ended the game with 10 men. The players around referee Nick Walsh right now, they are not happy. Dylan Bahambula was sent off 12 minutes after coming on. 2 fouls, 2 bookings, and off he went. That summed up Livy's day really. They haven't won here in 20 years and never really looked like taking the 3 points. First half was a total non-event, but Motherwell definitely upped it after the break. Joe Efford and Josh Morris came on in 54 minutes and both really made a difference. Efford and Stephen O'Donnell both had shots before Motherwell won the penalty in 68 minutes. A deep corner to the back post was met by Sean Goss, and his header back across goal was apparently handled by Christian Montano, although he did protest. Nick Walsh took a few seconds and then pointed to the spot, and Van Veen smashed his penalty past Jamal George. He expected Livy to go for the equaliser after that, but Bahambula wrecked her chances with 2 daft bookings inside 12 minutes. He was already on a yellow when he went in high and Sean Goss, and he was sent off. Livy's hopes went with him as he walked down the tunnel, and it's Motherwell who are celebrating another big 3 points under Stevie Hamill. Full time, Motherwell 1, Livingston 0.
What result that is for Stephen Hamill's side. Do we have another full-time whistle? Yes, and it's Tannadice. How's the reaction there, Fraser Wishart?
Well, the reaction of the Dundee Utd fans, as much as you would have expected. Loud boos at the end of the game. You could probably hear the small band of St Mirren fans who are absolutely delighted. To my left hand side, and so they should be. It was an excellent and thoroughly deserved win for Saints. Goals in either half by Curtis Main, and then a late goal by sub Alec Greaves settling the game as United's tough period continues. First half was really good to watch. Chances at both ends. Ayunga headed inches wide from 6 yards in the first minute, then Mark O'Hara denied by an excellent save by Eriksson. At the other end, Middleton with a dipping free kick from 25 yards was tipped over at full stretch by Carson. The closest that United came, and the opener came in the 41st minute. Mark O'Hara, skipper for the day, burst through the United midfield. His pass was intended for Curtis Main. It took a touch from Levitt, but took it right into the path of Main, who was clean through. Good touch and excellent finish by the striker. Jack Ross reacted at half time. Matthew Cudjoe on for Jamie McGrath. An early spell of pressure, things looking okay for United, but it was Saints that got the second on 58-3. A similar type of goal. O'Hara robbed Levitt deep inside his own half. He drove forward into the space, nobody came towards him, slipped in Ayunga tried to set himself up for a goal, but they managed to touch it back to Curtis Main. A really good high finish by the striker at the top corner. Nearly 3 minutes later, good move, Bacchus, Ayunga, and then O'Hara with a low shot saved by Eriksson, and from that corner a Tate header deflected onto the roof of the net with the keeper scrambling, and that brought out boos from United supporters. Jack Ross brought on Niskanen and Clark, 5 attackers on the pitch, but they couldn't create any chances. Carson, no real saves to make till he dived low to his right to save from Niskanen. Still Saints dangerous on the break. Bacchus and O'Hara outstanding. Stephen Fletcher at the other end flicked a header goalwards, but you didn't feel that they were going to score. The goal had just taken the stuffing out of them, but it was 3-0 on 90 minutes. St Mirren sitting back, United trying to throw people forward. The ball broke to Ryan, straining the right back area for St Mirren. He played a really good long ball over the top. Carl Johan Eriksson, United keeper, came out of his box to clear 25 yards out, but sub Alec Gray was quicker than him to the ball and got his toe to it to poke the ball past the goalkeeper and into the net from distance. Few boos, in fact more than a few boos from United fans at full time. They're playing okay, but I have to say that there was a really good performance by St Mirren. 2 wins in a row, feeling good down Paisley Way. United need to stop the rot somehow. 4 defeats in a fortnight. Celtic next. Fans booing loudly at the end. Full time, Tannadice, Dundee United 0, St Mirren 3.
What an afternoon that is. Dundee United fans, we'd love to hear from you. I know it's maybe not often the case we hear from too many on a Saturday night, but we'd really like to get your thoughts because it's going from bad to worse at the moment. And St Mirren fans, you'll be delighted, so you can come on and rub salt in those wounds if you so wish. Still waiting, I think, in Dingwall. We'll definitely still be waiting at McDermott because that was about 15 minutes behind. It is full time. Dave Galloway.
Yeah, full time. Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0 after a pretty even but uneventful start. County began to look the likelier team. The ball fell to Hewula in the box, but he shot straight at Walker. They had a penalty claim rejected when Sims went down in the box, and then Kelly promptly went upfield where Shaw's effort was saved. Johnson passed up another decent opening for the Staggies with his header from Baldwin's cross failing to trouble the keeper. In the opening moments of the second half, County's Hewula scampered through, but Walker was very smartly off his line to block the danger. Kilmarnock then went close when Power chested the ball down and volleyed just over from outside the area. The visitors certainly stepped things up and they looked much more of a threat. Shaw with a powerful header from Adebiusu's cross, but Laidlaw did very well indeed to turn the ball behind for a corner kick. Play was now swinging from end to end. Callaghan's header from Owura's cross for the hosts lacked power. That was easily saved. Then in 81 minutes we had a red card. Ross County were down to 10 men. Callaghan getting a second yellow, but it was they who took the lead. About 5 minutes later, Owura pouncing in a crowded box to fire home following a free kick. Armstrong came very close to getting an injury time equaliser for Killie with a powerful drive that Laidlaw clawed round his near post. So an exciting afternoon all in all. Ross County just edging it. Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0.
There was a delay, remember, to the game at McDermott Park, so it's still St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 1. We won't get the chance to hear from Roger Hannah for the next few minutes or so we'll bring you that very soon. With that in mind, that's pretty much it. It's over to you. This is the bit we've been waiting on all afternoon. I'm sure you're the same, because it's your chance to have your say, and no game is better placed to start than that match at Easter Road. I mean, 4 goals, a penalty given to Rangers with 2 men sent off, a last minute equaliser for Hibs, drop points for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's side. What an afternoon. What did you make of it? Were the decisions right? What did Willie Collum's part in the game look like? What about the performance? What about the result? It is all there, so let's hear from you right now, please. 01419511025. Big results for Motherwell and St Mirren and Ross County, still waiting in Aberdeen, and the small matter of Celtic Hearts tomorrow as well. Let's go. Your chance to have your say right now.
After the action, it's